Hello guys, it's Sictoid here. In this week's edition of
The Builds You Don't Play,
we're gonna take a look at the Crossbow Sorceress. Now that sounds really dumb, right? Well, believe it or not, this character actually kicks all kinds of ass. If I'm being completely honest, this character was one of the top reasons why I wanted to start doing this video series in the first place. We hope you enjoy. The reason this build is viable at all is this oddball item right here. Demon Machine gives you piercing attack of 66. Once we combine it with the Razortail belt, we are sitting at 99% pierce. The bigger deal on this crossbow is the fact that it fires explosive bolts. The damage of the explosions is really puny, even after they get boosted up by Fire Mastery, but once we throw Enchant into the mix, the damage goes over the roof. So basically our bolts are now fireballs with piercing. All of a sudden we are looking at a very respectable damage dealer indeed. Alright, let's talk gear. Given you are using a crossbow, you of course don't have access to the overpowered faster hit recovery booster that is the Spirit Shield. That means that you do have to pay some actual attention to FHR sources on your items. If you choose to teleport on swap, you don't need to worry about FCR that much. I wanted the extra comfort of being able to teleport on my main weapon set, so I have enough FCR to hit 63 breakpoint without having to rely on the Spirit Shield on swap. Demon Machine is of course the weapon. I already talked about the exploding bolts and the pierce. It's actually really easy to cap your attack speed with this thing, and just 115 IAS jewel anywhere in your gear will get you there. My Demon Machine is upped because I could hit the extra dexterity requirements for the upped version without any extra invested points. The increased base damage doesn't actually matter a whole lot, so if you are playing without Torch and Annie for example, I recommend not upping it. Razortail is the belt, so we can hit that 99% pierce. I wear Crown of Ages for the FHR, and I slammed 2 fire facets into the sockets. The only downside of this thing is the strength requirement, which is a tad bit high. Viper Magi is the body armor. If you TP on swap, you probably won't need the FCR on the armor, so you can go with Arcane's Valor or something to help with the FHR. Plenty of options with the body armor slot, to be honest with you. Mage Fists for the gloves. Ravenfrost for Cannot Be Frozen, since we do actually rely on our attack speed with this character. BK Ring, mainly for the +1 skills, but the added life leech is also a small factor. I went with these rare boots with all kinds of useful stats on them. I have a 215 amulet to reach the 63 FCR breakpoint on my main weapon set. I have CTA and Spirit on swap. I also keep this orb with +5 enchant on it in my cube for pre-buffing before runs. The inventory is a bunch of fire skillers and a Geats, plus some magic find small charms just to have a little bit of magic find on this character. I started out with using some fire damage small charms, but in the end they seem to matter very little in terms of the overall damage output of this character. I have these 3 FHR charms here, which help me hit the 60 FHR breakpoint with my boots and the Crown of Ages. The Mercenary has Infinity, Fortitude and Andy Helm with 15 IAS fire resistance jewel in it. Stats are basically enough strength to wear your gear and then everything else into vitality. I have a pretty good Torch and Annie, so I didn't need any points invested into dexterity. For skills, I maxed Fire Mastery, I maxed Enchant and Warmth as a synergy. I decided to also max Firewall. When I'm not dealing damage to big groups of enemies and I'm not getting the added damage of the explosion chains, I felt like this character needed some extra oomph to the DPS. Firewall is a fantastic damage spell against high HP targets, and the synergies actually line up pretty nicely with Enchant. I grabbed these 3 spells from the lightning tree, as basically every other sorceress build does. I didn't go for energy shield, but feel free to experiment with that one if you are playing this character. I got frozen armor, frost nova, and 1 point into cold mastery to increase the frost nova duration. After all this was done, I started putting points into inferno to synergize the firewall a little bit more. I thought I would end things this week with a Players 5 Ancient Tunnels run. Given that this character is basically all fire damage, it's of course rather limited in the areas where it can farm. I like Ancient Tunnels a lot. The only fire immunes there are the invaders, and their immunity will be broken by the Infinity Mercenary. Other good options are the Glacial Trail and Drifter Cavern in Act 5 and River of Flame in Act 4. Those maps both have only 1 fire immune monster type that can spawn on them, so if you happen to get those, you can just skip them. And that about does it for this week. I hope you guys found this build interesting. I will see you again in the next week's video.